Hi, so welcome back. We're continuing to add some functionality into our little local tank game, local multiplayer game. And the next bit of functionality that I would like to add is the ability to fire bullets at each other. So to do that, I'm going to first go up into the hierarchy and I'm going to hit the plus button to add a 3D sphere. And this can be our bullet, or at least the start of our bullet. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. It doesn't really matter what size we make this stuff, but it will help. It'll be more representative of the size of the entity in the end, I think. But we're just focusing on functionality at the moment. So we're going to have to add the collision component and also the rigid body component, and then we have to go and fix these up. So the collision component needs to be a sphere, and we can change its radius to 0.25 so that it matches the renderable exactly, and then the rigid body needs to be dynamic. And I believe somewhere we can, up here we can change this name to be bullet, and that will make it easier to find in our hierarchy on the left. And I'm just going to disable it because this is the reference to the bullet. So when we start the game, we don't want a bullet to be hanging in the air, we just want a bullet to appear when we press a button. So to do that, we need to go into our movement script, and then, or our character script, and then we're going to need to add a bit of code in here. The first thing that we need to do is we need to reference the bullet that we've just made. So I'm going to make a new attribute, and I'm going to call this one bullet, and it is of type entity. So all of the others have been numbers so far. This one's going to be an entity, and we can check this immediately by going back into the editor and scrolling down to our script, and you can see there's an empty bullet field, and I can select this bullet and drag it over and add it into the field there. You can do that for the other character as well. Okay, so that's good, but now we need to add in a little bit of code to fire the bullet. So it's going to be done in a very similar way to the movement script. So if this key is pressed down, do something else. So I'll just copy one of these lines, and I'll go down and I'll make myself a little, we'll just do it for one of the characters at the moment. So this is shoot, and there. If the key that's pressed down, we can change the key to something like control. Then we're going to do something else. So I'm going to put some curly brackets there. So we're going to create a new variable, and that's just for this frame. This variable is called new bullet, and that is how we will refer to the bullet that we are spawning on this frame. So this new bullet equals, and then we're referencing the thing that we've just got a reference to at the top, the what's it called, the attribute, and we do that by saying this dot bullet dot clone. So that's going to clone that bullet, and then we want to say, now we refer to it as new bullet from this point on, because we've made this new bullet variable and we've said it's one of these clones. So new bullet dot enabled equals true. So initially we made the first one, the reference bullet is disabled up here in the properties, and now when we spawn a new one we can make it enabled. And then we just have to say the last bit is we have to give it a parent and show it where in the hierarchy it needs to go. This entity dot add child, and then we reference new bullet. That should be it. So you can see that if we press this button, we don't want is pressed, do we? We probably want was pressed, because then you will only fire one at a time. I mean, you could do is pressed and then it would be almost like a machine gun. We can try that out in a second if this works. if this works. Let's try it. Every time I press the button, another bullet appears. If I hold it down, I just get one. So if I go back to this and I say, what is pressed? Yeah, you can hold the button down and you can spawn loads of these bullets. Okay, cool. So it doesn't really matter which it is at the moment, but let's put was pressed. So now we need the bullet to be spawned at a specific position. So we can say new bullet dot, is it set position? Yeah, set position. It just threw me because it's not coming up as the sort of autocomplete. And then you put in a vector 3. So this is relative to the object that is being spawned. It's relative to the object that's spawning it. So 0, 0, 0 is going to be inside this character's head. So that might make it explode, but that's okay for now. So let's try it and see what happens. Yeah, it's being spawned inside it, and then it's pushing both the objects away from each other. So that's kind of cool. So I'd like to spawn it just in front of this character. So I would do that by working out, so in like the positive blue axis, which is Z. Let's see if that works. So if I just try 0, 0, 1, so that's X, Y, Z, so positive Z, that might be a meter in front of, I'm not sure. Oh, that looks alright actually, just in front of my nose, so that's fine. So we've got a bullet that is spawning in front of the character. I just want to check and see if I rotate and see if it, yeah, it does. Oh, look, it's attached to me. That's very weird. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it would be like its own physical object. Cool, that'll probably cause some problems later. And the last thing to do is, in the same way that we apply a force to the entity, we want to apply a force to the bullet as well. So again, we're referencing the bullet on this single frame. So new bullet dot rigid body dot apply force, and then, right, how do we want to do this? So the simple way to start with is going to be just sort of feeding in like a vector 3, but we already know that when you press W, we've worked out what this entity's forward direction is, and then we scale the movement speed by that. So we can do exactly the same thing down here, apply force, and then we can get the character's movement speed, forward direction, and then we can scale it by, and we're going to need an extra parentheses there, I think. So what do we want to scale? And then I guess we put in a little number here which is like bullet speed. But let's just put in like 100 for now. And see if that's too much. I mean, it's definitely too much. We just want to see if it fires in the right direction. It's going the opposite direction. It's going backwards. And it also doesn't seem too fast. This entity forwards. So I wonder what we do then. Right, let's just pass in minus 100 and see if we can fire the bullets in the right direction. It's nowhere near strong enough, is it? I guess because it's only applying it for like a single frame. So if we do 1,000, yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay. And then what I'll probably do is up here I'll say bullet speed or something like that. And yeah, that's already a number. Great. And then we'll say this bullet speed and then go back into here, and then in our script we're going to refresh this, and we're going to add in 1000 as our bullet speed, and then you can fire bullets. Fantastic, cool. So that'll be everything for this tutorial, and then we'll continue to work on it in the next tutorial. I hope that's okay. Thank you, bye.